Welcome to Friday Nights with Emma. Kaylee is on camera tonight, so say hi to Kaylee. Say hi, Kaylee.
Hello, everyone.
So Kaylee's with me tonight. Yay! Got to see Kaylee first time since like February, right, Kaylee?
Yeah, it's definitely February because I was here when you started doing these.
Yes, yes.
So this is a retro night. Everything's retro. We're hand sewing, and you got me back.
Yay!
Look, I already drew 4 more people.
Yay! We'll give everybody a minute to join, so just give us a thumbs up and a little heart to let us know you're there. And yeah, any questions you got or comments, Kaylee will read out for me as well. Got the grape juice ready. Hopefully it's not too loud, but I got the fan on. Jeez, it's really warm today, so I needed the fan. So.
Joanne Johnson says, "Hi, Emma."
Hi, John.
We have 27 people. Sarah Wells says hello.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Yeah.
Dawn Bowden says hi.
Hi, Dawn. You know Dawn.
Oh, Jackie Hurst. She says evening and welcome back, Kaylee. Oh, I love you, Jackie.
Jackie's really nice. Right, so let me get started a little bit talking about what I've got in front of me.
Ooh, can I do one more?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jane Paxton says hi, everyone. And Sandy Reed says hello, Emma.
Hi, Sandy.
Okay, we're gonna get started now.
Okay, so where to start? I guess there's a lot of places I could start. Let me start with the threads first of all. So I've got mostly Gutermann thread, but I've also got a Coats and Clark, which is what I also use. So for hand quilting, you definitely have to use a hand quilting thread. So this is Gutermann. I think it says quilting on it. It's a little bit thicker, and you'll see when I pull it off, maybe.
You can't really.
Yeah, you can't see, but it's quite strong.
Oh, hold it against this, like something light, where you can, yeah, there we go.
It comes off a little bit, because it sticks out, it comes off a little bit wiry compared to my Orifil thread, which is the 40 weight.
Here,
it's a lot softer. So it will be stiffer than normal thread. Get the those are all my Gutermann ones. I went and had a rummage and I found lots of colours that I didn't know I had. This is a Coats and Clark. It's called Dual Duty Plus Hand Quilting. This is the one I have in the shop. I've got cream, beige, dark green. I tried to keep them fairly neutral. A lot of people tend to want something that will blend. So that's the first thing. I've got a King Tut here as well, which is also a good one for hand quilting.
Ooh, can we get a close-up on that one?
Oh, this one, you like this one?
Yeah, because this was really nice.
Yes.
It has a lot of different colors.
Yeah. That's the kind of thread that for Jackie, that I used on her cat quilt. Variegated, but it was variegated purple, but it was the superior King Tut.
Can I do a few hellos?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, Joanne Galwin.
Oh, hi. Joanne and her mum Maureen, I think. Pretty sure. It's Joanne and mum Maureen.
She says, Facebook has done a weird update tonight.
Oh.
Judy Rogers says, good evening.
Hi, Judy.
Lorraine Harding says, hi, ...
Hi, Lorraine.
Ross Perfeet says, good evening, Emma and
Ross.
Everyone. Amanda Stribling says, hi, all.
Hi, Amanda. Oh, we have to say before, she may not be, but shout out to Pam Lawrence. Yeah. So hi to Pam Lawrence. Say hi to Pam if she's watching, or if she watches it on catch up. So I know she'll be home tonight. So hi, Pam.
Lori says, hi, Emma.
Oh,
and
hi, Lori.
Calamanton, but I'm sure she meant Kaylee.
Yeah.
Susan McGurry says, hi.
Hi, Susan.
Diane Renneberg says, evening, ladies.
Oh, hi, Diane.
Jen Newton says,
Jen.
hi. Karen Hughes, hi, girls.
Oh, hi, Karen.
Cheers, I've got grape juice, too.
Yay.
Debbie Calver says, hi.
Hi, Debbie.
Joanne Galwin says, she is making notes.
Yay. Okay.
And
yes,
one
definitely.
more. Cheryl says, hi, both of you. Thanks,
hi,
Emma,
Cheryl.
for the order.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, guys, for supporting me. That really makes a huge difference. Really, truly. So thanks so much, guys, for all your orders.
Cheryl Martin says, hi, both of you, and thanks, Emma. Oh, wait, sorry. Carol Holt says, evening all. Lori Voss Goldsmith says, yep, Kaylee. Yep. No worry, I knew what you meant, Lori. Annette Jasper says, evening from sunny Cornwall.
Oh, nice. Hi, Annette. Hi, Annette.
Lorraine Harding, love to you all. And Tina Faisley says, hi, both.
Hi, Tina.
Terry Tommins says, good evening from South Shields.
Oh, nice. Oh, why, I man.
And Jean Nichols, hello from Land's End, Cornwall. Lots of
Nice.
Cornwall watchers.
Yes. No, you didn't come. It was me and Mikey who got a picture taken at Land's End.
Yes.
Nice. It's all nice. Actually, I've been up to South Shields, Washington. My day job is based in Washington, so I've been up there.
A couple more. Diane Rowland says hi to both of you.
Hi, Diane.
Joanne Galwin again. Yes,
Hi,
it's
Joanne.
me with Mom Maureen.
Yay!
She loves that you remember. Laureen Harding. Oh, Emma, love the hair.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, it's warm tonight, but when it was really warm a couple of weeks ago, it was really, really getting me down. So yes, thank you.
And we're finally at the end. Thanks. Lori Voss Goldsmith says, thanks for my book, Quilt a Quilts.
Yes.
Diana Rollins says, what have you done with Mikey?
Mikey is on furlough for the night. Well, he's been benched because Kaylee's here visiting. So
And
we'll have to call him down to say hi.
Yeah, and Janet Val says hello, and that's it. We can get on with your. There's 49 people watching.
Yay. Hey everybody. So right, threads. So like I said, quilting thread important because it's thicker, stronger. The reason for that is you're only going to have one thread holding your quilting together. Basically, it's not like sewing machine where you've got a top thread and a bottom thread, so they kind of strengthen each other. You're only relying on that one thread to hold your quilt together. So it's important that it's strong. Second of all, because you have a lot of wear when it goes through your needle, the eye of your needle, it needs to be stronger than regular thread so that it can withstand all the wear that goes through the eye of the needle when you're sewing it. Yeah, so King Tut is one. King Tut is one that I wouldn't go any weaker than this. So let's see if I can do a little break test on some of these. So I'll start probably with the Aurifil. So the Aurifil, this one is one that I use for piecing. It's Aurifil 50. It's what I have in the shop. And it's also the one that I use for the long arm quilting machine. And it's a little bit finer than these and regular thread, but it quilts up a dream. And because on the machine the wear through the eye isn't as much, because it's just the thread is just going through the eye once, and you've got top thread and bottom thread to strengthen each other, it really works well for that, but it wouldn't work well for hand quilting. So let me see if I can do a little break test on this one. This is 100% cotton. Yeah, didn't take much.
That was like floss.
Yeah, it breaks quite easily, and that's why you wouldn't want to use that for. It's good for hand piecing if you use short lengths, so you're not wearing it very much on the eye of the needle, but not good for hand quilting. Right, we'll do King Tut next. So this one a little bit harder to break. Still 100% cotton. This one I have hand quilted with it before. It does work quite well, but if you've got a thread, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Oh no!
Which one are you looking for?
My wax. Oh, it blended in with the table. So this is beeswax, and if you've got a thread that you absolutely really want to use because you really must have that colour on your quilt, then you can strengthen it. So I would use shorter lengths and then strengthen it with the beeswax. So just run it through the beeswax 2 or 3 times, and you can see it stiffens it up a little bit, so it coats it, makes it a little bit more sturdy. In general, the beeswax helps it run smoother through your. You can see how that's got a little bit stiffer. So that's what I would use with that. This one is the Coates and Clark hand quilting one. This one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's a lot more. Yeah, you can see I've got a little bit. So this one is 68% polyester, 32% cotton. So it's got the strength of the polyester in there. It takes quite a bit to break that one.
I would have thought the polyester would have been weaker. Is it not true, or is the cotton weaker, or is it because it's not as flexible?
The cotton is weaker because it's a natural fibre. Polyester, it's basically in longer strands. So the cotton, if you can imagine a cotton plant, the cotton puff ball,
Yeah.
the strands of the cotton are only a certain length.
Right.
And depending on the type of cotton that you're growing, they say long staple cotton. That means that the thread lengths are a little bit longer, and then they weave them together. But with polyester, they basically, it's just...
Yeah.
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 It's a polymer, so you don't have that. Right. And then this is the Gutmann. All the Gutmann ones are pretty much the same. They're all exactly the same. And these are actually 100% cotton, but still not quite as strong as this one, but definitely taking a lot more to break than the King Tut or the Aurifil for sure.
Watching you break string has risen our viewer count.
Ooh.
You might have a niche audience.
I might. So Gutmann has always been my kind of go-to, but I really like the Coates and Clark as well. Now, when I hand quilt, I tend to do it sort of kind of traditional, insofar as, if you saw the ones from last week, my stitches I tried to make them as small as possible, although I haven't... Oh, Link was laying on this week, so there's black cat hairs all over it, unfortunately. I didn't get to brush that off yet.
I'm going to do a close-up.
Yeah, so these stitches are a little bit bigger than I would normally do, and the thread that I'm using is actually an Aurifil 40. And I thought it would work quite well for hand quilting, and I have been waxing it. So it is working alright, because it's a little bit thicker, but if let me see, that's quite a long strand. I'll just steal a little bit from there. Let's see. Oh, it is quite strong actually, although I have just waxed this. It does break a little bit easier than the Gutmann. So I'd say it's kind of in between, about the same as this, as the King Tut.
So a quick summary. Which is, because there was a lot of information there. What would you say was the strongest thread for hand sewing?
The strongest one that I've got on here on the table is the Coates and Clark. That's the polyester cotton one.
Mm-hmm.
That's one I have in the shop. And the next strong one is the Gutmann quilting, 100% cotton.
Yeah.
And then let me see. It's a toss-up between the King Tut. Yeah, King Tut and Aurifil 40, I would say, are about the same strength. So both of these, I would wax if I wanted to use them for quilting, for hand quilting. In the machine, they work like a dream. Like I said, this one I've used on a customer's quilt already, Jackie, in a purple variegated, and it worked really well.
Okay, so for those taking notes, dual duty. The one that's poly cotton blend, best one.
Yeah.
Then the Gutmanns, and then King Tut.
King Tut, but King Tut is really nice. It comes in lots of nice colours as well.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, it is pretty. So again, if you've got one that you really must use, definitely use the beeswax with it.
Okay, can I do a quick bit of thank yous?
Yeah. Go for it. I'm gonna have a swig.
Excellent. Okay, we're gonna start with Christina Buffman, who says,
"Hi, Christina.
Hi, late again." She came in just at the end of the last thank yous. Hi, Emma, says Nan Edwards.
Oh, hi, Nan.
Diane Wheatley says, Hi, Emma.
Hi, Diane.
Christine Hicks says, Hello from Glasgow.
Oh, hi, Christine.
And then Joanne Galwin says, Can I check, would you wax the Gutermann?
I haven't, because it is quite strong. And it has quite... Yeah, it doesn't really need it. So when it comes off the roll, it kind of already looks a little bit waxed. It's hard to show on the camera, but if you had it in real life, it comes off, it has more body to it. Like it's a little bit wiry, almost. So this one I definitely wouldn't wax, or wouldn't need to wax. And then the Coates and Clark you wouldn't need to wax. Yep.
Wonderful question from Lorraine Harding says, I'm quite new, but recently had a go at bid bid stitch quilting using pearl cotton.
Yes.
Is that
yes,
okay?
yes. Yeah, of course. Yes. And that is one of the main things I want to say tonight. This is just the way I do it. My philosophy about quilting is always, there's no right or wrong way, only the way that works for you. Now this is a way that I've kind of done it and I found it works. But yes, larger stitches, larger needle with perlé cotton works just as well.
Jonathan Dryman says, hi there.
Oh, hi,
and
Jonathan.
Susan Malcolm Davis says, hi, sorry I'm late. Have been
hi.
cutting fabric for face masks for my family.
Oh, wow. Oh, well done. Yay.
Yeah.
So because I use the finer threads rather than the perlé cotton, the needles that I use, okay,
how are we going to show the needles? Because they're not going to show up on the tablecloth.
No, I'll show you. So, conventional wisdom, or what the sort of quilting police say you must hand quilt with, are needles which are called betweens. Now those needles, I don't actually have any here because I don't use them at all, but they are quite short, quite fine. So this needle that I'm using is a Sharps, which is technically one that you use for applique, but I like it really well for hand quilting because it is, believe it or not, that is longer than a between.
Hold on. Let's see if I can get a close-up. That's hard. That's very fine.
Yeah.
And it only wants to close up on your fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh man, that's fine. Here, why don't I take that and we'll put it on there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh.
You see that?
Well,
That's because this, see how this, it shows up a lot better on the fabric.
Hold that thought. I'll be right back. Let me grab my ruler.
Okay. We don't have elevator music for this.
No.
No, we should.
Just you.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see it's what, about 1¼ inches long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the between is actually shorter than that. It's closer to, I would say, 1 inch or 7/8.
Do we have other needles we can compare it to, rather than people using their imagination?
I've only got Sharps.
Only Sharps.
This. Oh wait. Flower head pin. If people use a flower head pin.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good
Comparison.
Yeah.
Now I do find the Sharps.
Nope.
Oh, I'm just grabbing it. The
Okay.
Sharps, as you probably saw on there, they do bend after a while. So from quilting, you can see they do get a little bend in them. I kind of persevere with them for a while. But I sell the Roxanne Sharps, which come in a nice little vial with a little seashell on top, and you get 50 in one of these. So I'm down to my last one in this vial. I've had it for a little while.
About a week.
No, it's been longer than that. But I use Sharps. I use those for hand piecing, for hand quilting, basically everything, because they're just the right length for me. And the size, I think it's a 9. So let me remember. So with thread, the higher the number, the finer the thread. With needles, it's the opposite. The smaller the number, the finer the needle. The higher the number, the thicker the needle. And these are a 9. And needles, hand sewing needles tend to go sort of, I think it's like 8, 9, 10, 11, things like that. So it's on the finer side, but not as fine as they can go. But if you want to use a bigger needle, if you find that's easier for you,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. I think I might have a bigger needle in this quilt. Or is it a Sharps?
While you get that, I'm going to look back at chat. Lorraine Harding says, hi,
Lorraine.
Jane. Christine Hicks, a different Mickey tonight. Yep. Annette Jasper says, do you quilt, Kaylee? No, I don't. But I am a quilt enthusiast.
Yeah, Kaylee draws. Kaylee's a drawer. And
Yeah.
a painter.
Kate
So-
Riding says, hi, Emma.
Oh, hi.
Diamond McFarland says, I love big tulip big eye needles.
Yes. Big eye. These ones, the Roxanne ones, the eyes aren't too bad, but you can get some, especially with the betweens. That's the other reason I don't tend to use them, is because the hand quilting thread is thicker, I struggle to get them through the eye of really fine betweens. So it's trade-off.
Diane Renneberg says, I use quilters size 10. It's about an inch long.
Yeah. And again, it's what works for you. So I'm not going to say you must absolutely use this needle and this thread. It's more trial and error and finding what you're comfortable with and what you like and the finish that you like. If you like smaller stitches or larger stitches, it's entirely up to you. I kind of got it drummed into me because I learnt in America that the ideal was 10 stitches per inch. That's how small your stitches were supposed to be, and that's kind of what I tried to aim for, although I never quite reached that.
Lorraine Harding is getting into my good books, saying, Kaylee's on the ball tonight. And Margaret Stone, at the very bottom of the list, says, hi, Emma.
Oh, hi. Right, so now we've talked about threads, we've talked about needles. We want to talk about designs. So you can do really simple. So I'll take this off. This is my hand piece quilt that I've been working on. It's my frame. Oh, somebody asked about the frames this week. I do have them in the shop. I have, for some reason the listing went away, but the listing is on the shop now again.
Oh, here. Yep.
I wasn't entirely sure how many I had, so I put a certain number in inventory because I don't want to oversell, because I know the supplier won't be getting any more in until August. But I might have more than I think. That makes sense.
Quick question from Sandy Reed.
Oh, hi Sandy.
If using a broader num 16, what needle size should I use?
Oh, so that's a good question. Now you've got me. Because I don't, well, I'll see if I can find, there should be a needle gauge somewhere, a chart that tells you needle size to thread. I know I've seen them from machine needles. I tend to literally just do trial and error and just find ones that work for me. And yeah, it's mostly out of frustration, like that's not going to work. And then I put those needles away, usually.
I do have to apologize to Belinda, because I did see your comment, but I wanted to do the question first. But Belinda Bramwell says, I like your dress fabric. Are they little people or just shapes?
Oh, they are. I think they are. They're flowers. And they're hibiscus flowers and a stylized flower.
Here, I'm going to close up on the fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were, when I bought it, they looked a little bit like man orchids. So I think that's where I also thought they look like people, or at least man orchids, dancing orchids.
Dawn says, what size is your frame? Mine is too big for me.
Oh, this one is about 11 inches, I think, and I think that's the same one I've got online. It's 8, 9, 10, yeah, 11 inches. Which I find just right, and Mike, like I said, we talked about this last week. Mikey bought me this frame because I used to have a round hoop which was bigger, and I used to, well, it was hard. I found it harder to adjust the quilt inside the frame once it was on, but this makes it a lot easier to move as well. And I like the square because you can really get to the edges without too much faff. Right, so design. Let me move these out of the way. I'm going to keep that one, because I think that's what I'm going to use.
For reference, we're going to use, other side. Nope.
Oh, actually,
I had it.
Let's do this one.
We're using Gutermann? No, we're going to use the poly cotton blend.
Yeah, it was for the colour more than anything, but I do want to use that one.
Okay.
So you can do really simple designs. So I've got, you can either,
Ooh.
so all I've done here is lines, literally diagonal lines going across. So you can either use a water-soluble pencil, or I've got a friction pen, although I do warn about using friction pens for marking quilting lines, because on some fabrics it marks it makes the fabric a little bit lighter, especially on batiks, and in some cases, because it is ink that goes onto your quilt, it could actually come back if it gets terribly cold, or it might show up. So be warned, if you do use one of those, on something very precious, you may want to do a little test patch first, or just do a water soluble pencil, because those definitely just wash out and they don't leave anything behind. So you can mark them with that, or what I like to do, which I've been doing on this quilt, it's just 1/4 inch masking tape, and what I've been doing is just going from corner to corner where I need it, just like that, and then just quilt along the edge. So I'll just quilt along the edge of that line. Nice straight line, don't have to mark anything. You can actually pick it up and move it 2 or 3 times and reuse that actual piece of tape. Another design that I tend to use... Ooh,
Can I put a disclaimer on the masking tape thing?
yeah?
If you do start using this method, especially for big quilts, your house will be clogged up with little balls of masking tape. That's one of my earliest childhood memories, is just finding balls of masking tape everywhere. So, like, also, Diamond McFarlane would like to know where the Fuzz Babies are this evening.
Oh, I think they're upstairs. Yeah, see, Kaylee and my granddaughter, Alice, have been, and because Alice, well, Link was hanging around when Alice was here, but I think they've both sort of gone up out of the way.
And Christina Buffman says, I had that problem with a dark red Xmas fabric.
Oh.
I had to use an ink remover treatment.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, yeah, just be warned. I have used the friction pen on the next project that I'm going to show you. But, yeah, I like masking tape because it's quicker. Although, I'm hearing a different side of it from Kaylee. The other thing that I sometimes do, I didn't want to do it on this one because I thought there was too much in the middle, but on smaller shapes that you have, it's very traditional to just do your quilting 1/4 inch inside your line. Now 1/4 inch, because that will avoid your seam allowance. Move that over. So when I do that, I just put a little piece of tape, 1/4 inch tape, along the edge of it, and then I'll just quilt. Oh, I'll just quilt along there to give that outline, basically. But if you quilt through the seam allowance, it's a little bit harder, obviously. So that's why I think traditionally all the quilting lines have been 1/4 inch inside every shape, because it avoids quilting over any seam allowances. Actually, I'll leave that one there because I can use that.
All your fans are coming out in support of you.
Oh.
Lorraine Harding says, love that tape, has helped me so much.
Yes.
And Joanne Galwin says, I love that tape. It helps when I'm doing walking foot straight line quilting.
Yeah.
It also helps me to see a design before I sew it.
Yes.
And Jackie Hurst says, your secrets are coming out now, Emma.
Oh, they are. Kaylee's, yeah.
And Samantha Brody says hi.
Oh, hi, Samantha. Another way of using masking tape that I've done, especially I like to do this on borders. I think I did, yeah, on one of the quilts I did last week, I showed you last week, I'd done the same thing. Cross hatching. If you want to do cross hatching, rather than having to mark out all your lines, so cross hatching is basically a checkerboard design of quilting, so just squares. I just use 1 inch or 1.5 inch masking tape. And then what I'll do is I'll get my ruler, and I'll use my ruler to get my 45-degree line against my quilt, and then I'll just line that up with the ruler for the first one that I lay down, and then I just quilt on either side of it, and then I'll just keep moving that tape, and so I can just move it, line it up with that new set of stitches that I've got, and just keep reusing it and doing lines across. And then if you want to do the other way, you just line it up again with your ruler for the first one, and then keep moving them, and then you've got perfect.
Yeah, and that goes with those ones.
Yeah, that gives you a perfect 1 inch grid, straight lines. There you go, Kaylee.
I know. It starts.
Now, another way of doing it, so that's a very simple way of marking, a very easy way of marking. The other way that you can do is get a bit more fancy-dancy and use stencils. Now, I've used stencils for borders. It works really well on areas of fabric that are just plain fabric rather than quilting across a actual patchwork design. So I've got a few here. Now, stencils, they can be a little bit hard to come by in the UK actually. These are all ones I got in America. So it's literally just plastic, and you can make your own. I have made my own out of laminate or plastic. The one that Michael's quilt from last week, I actually made my own stencil for the quilting design on that. So there's that one, and then this would be a border one.
If there's enough demand, are we going to see a stencil making video?
Oh, possibly. That involves knives. There you go, Kaylee.
Oh, thank you. Oh man, I missed this. Oh man.
Is it taking you back?
It's taking me back.
Oh, this is a good all-over design, Baptist fan. So it doesn't have to be a border, you just mark it down and just keep moving it on your quilt, and that would go over a patchwork design.
That would be really good for backing. Just if you were doing hand backing or machine backing and you didn't have your long arm sewing.
Yes, actually that's a good point. So this design, the Baptist fan, because it's just an arch, you could actually just mark that out on your quilt and possibly do it on your machine. And this one is one that I've used quite a bit, which is just leaves. Give it something a bit different. And then these traditional cables. Now again, so on this one I'm just going to make this into a cushion. So I'm not too fussed about the design on this one. So I've actually used my friction pen. But I would use, if I was going to do it on a quilt, I'd do a water-soluble pencil. And to use these, all you do is you mark out your design and then you move it across, line up your design lines with one of the empty spaces and then continue. So you just move it. And then for the borders, what I've done before is find the middle first, mark them up from corner, and then in the middle you have to fuss a little bit to get them to join up properly or make it work. You make it work somehow.
All right. Katie Elizabeth Harding says hello.
Hi,
Natalie McCardle says, "Hey, ladies."
Hi, Natalie. You know
Lovely.
Natalie.
I know Natalie. Lovely to hear you're. Love to hear you're here, Kaylee. Thank you, Natalie. Sue and Andrew Pitt says hello.
Oh, hi.
Lauren Harding says, "Lol, shh, don't tell anyone about the tape." Joanne Galwin is in support of stencil making. Yay, stencil making, please.
Okay.
And Lori Voss Goldsmith says, "Did you get your stencils at Joanne Fabrics?"
Some of them, probably yes. No, these ones, which I'll tell you where I got them from, because I was going to get them sent here. Oh, that reminds me. Anyway, something else. But last time I went to the US to see my friend Travis, there's this place called Quilting Creations, and they have literally every single stencil you could possibly want. So I got quite a few from there, Quilting Creations. And then I had them sent to Travis because to have them sent to the UK would have been far too expensive. And then I just brought them back.
And also, Diamond McFarlane says, "Kaylee, I recently asked your mom and dad who does the tidying up after one of their live streams. They both laughed a lot." And Christine Pierce says, "Gemini are selling stencils in a range of designs, approximately £18 for a 12-inch stencil."
Oh, that's quite expensive.
It is. I mean, it is plastic. I mean, a lot of work goes into making them because you do need a lot of concentration to get them straight. No, hold on. If you had a die cut cutter,
yeah, the machine done, I'm sure.
Yeah, but if you had
I think that probably reflects the cost of getting them sent from the US to the UK because there's taxes involved as well. Plus the shipping is more expensive. So, and it all depends on what the pound is doing according to the dollar, which also factors in. So that's probably fair for what they have to pay for them.
Diane Renneberg says you can buy Mylar for stencils from art shops, but it's quite expensive.
Oh, okay.
And Lori Voss Goldsmith says, I think the cats do the tidying up.
Secret is nobody does it. Well, we do it when we get fed up. Or Michael does it with me when I nag. Well, encourage him. Or bribe him with things.
And Joanne Galwin says, this is another reason why you could show us how to make our own stencils.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, I can definitely do that. Right, so we've got our design down.
Okay.
Got our design down. So you always mark your if you want to mark your stencil, you do that before you layer it all up. So you want to mark your top or your fabric before you start layering anything up. That's why I've talked about that first. I'm sure everybody's done layering up before. It's exactly the same process as you would do to put it through your sewing machine, your domestic sewing machine. So you can either pin it, which a lot of people like to do, so using your safety pins. And I usually do about a hand's width, so I'll do another one here, maybe another one here, and I do it like that. Although you're probably not surprised to hear I'm not much of a baster, and I'll tell you for why. After, let me show you one more way of doing it. Let me see. This is the one I want. The other way you can do basting is with needle and thread. And I always use a contrasting thread. I haven't done this for a long time, but this is how I used to baste my large quilts, because I didn't used to do much pinning. And it's with just a big needle, big long needle, regular thread, usually in a colour that contrasts with what you're using. Put a knot in it, and then you just do big, massive basting stitches, and I used to just do them in a grid. So I'll show you. Oh, spoon.
I was wondering what the spoon was for. I've been wondering that.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, when I used to do it with my big quilts, I just used to lay them out on the floor, lay them up properly, and then with my hands and knees, I used to do this. And because it's on the floor, the spoon actually helps to have something to push against the needle. So put it down, it helps to bring it back up again.
Oh.
Otherwise, especially get to the middle, it gets a bit hard. So literally,
We see a couple more of those,
yeah, just large basting stitches.
Uh-huh.
So where is it?
That's clever. Katie Elizabeth Harding says, we could put towards your flights and give you a shopping list. And Judith Fielden says, have you heard of Borders Made Easy, Emma? I had a roll which I bought in New Jersey. You machine or hand sew over a paper design and then tear the paper away. It was really easy method, but I can't find it here.
Oh, okay.
Lori Voss Goldsmith says, if my sister-in-law comes to visit from Illinois, you could put in an order and she would be glad to bring things for you.
Well, I am going. I have it planned. Going. John used to tease me about that. Going. To see Travis next March. So that it's booked. So hopefully it will happen. So yeah, if anybody wants to pay for extra luggage, I will gladly shop and bring stuff back for anybody.
Ooh. Really quick, Katie Elizabeth Harding says, wow, that's amazing. And Joanne Galwin says, someone told me a grapefruit spoon would be better.
Oh.
It's fab because it has a little wobbly edge
Yes.
around the top of the spoon, so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah, same principle, exactly the same, but yeah, because that would give you a little bit of grip as well. I think my mom probably is the only person I know who has a grapefruit spoon. Because she probably had it in her set of cutlery that she got when she got married. Which she still has and uses.
And Diane McFarlane says, in response to Lori, watch out, everyone will want to be your friend now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to plan a trip to Joanne's when I'm there. He already knows. There's one in his town, so it has to expect it.
I want to go.
You want to go with me?
Joanne's is fun because I don't get that experience with any other craft store. Not because Hobbycraft is okay, but Joanne Fabrics is you go down the aisles and you can just run your hands over like 600 rolls of fabric, and you go to the costume part,
Oh, yeah.
and they have all those fluffy and sparkly and sequiny ones, and then they have a whole section of catalogs with all the outfits and costumes. Yeah. And every Halloween we'd go, and I would pick out a costume from one of the catalogs, and we would pick out the pattern and then the fabric, and we'd make it. Yeah. Lauren Harding says, "Oh wow, spooning means something different to me now." Joanne Galwin says, "Not posh, had to order one, especially very cheap." Oh. And that's in regards, I think, to the grapefruit spoon. Lori Voss Goldsmith says, "I will be going next June myself."
Oh, woohoo.
Oh, so have fun. I mean, Joanne Fabrics is another thing. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is good.
I love watching you do this because every single time you put the needle in, I'm like, how is she gonna get that out? And then I see it on the spoon, and it's like, you got me again. Like, and this time? No, it's gonna. There it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So you just continue like that. So I'd do bigger. Obviously, if I was on a proper quilt, again, I'd do about hand's width. I've done it a little bit narrow there, but I do about hand's width. Do another one, up and down, and then the same this way, about hand's width.
That seems really tedious. Why didn't you just pin it?
I don't think I had enough pins for the whole quilt, for one thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I used to like doing it.
Well, the spoon method is definitely more entertaining.
Yeah. Although, I never based anymore. And I'll tell you for why. So I have pretty much only used cotton wadding. And, wadding, when you're layering it up, I'm sure you guys already know all this, dimples up, pimples down. And if you look at the wadding, I don't know if you can see, this side is kind of dimply.
Yeah.
If you look this side, you can see the bumps are raised up.
It definitely looks exactly the same on camera.
Okay.
But the experienced quilters with the hardened eye will probably be able to see the difference.
Yeah, if you put it against each other, you can definitely feel the difference. This feels smoother than this.
Oh, okay.
And the dimples and the pimples are made because this wadding is made by needle punching. And the needles go from this side and punch out this side. So you want your pimples to go on the bottom.
Joanne Galwin is schooling me because she explains why you do this. It's because it keeps it flatter, and you know what? It would keep it flatter than pinning it, so I can understand that. Thank you, Joanne.
It does. But I find that the cotton wadding actually sticks to the backing and the front enough that I don't pin. So this quilt that I'm quilting, I have not basted it whatsoever. So I literally just layered it up. Of course, you can see where Link has chewed the wadding. But because it's cotton, it doesn't really move very much. And the way that I quilt from the inside, the middle out. Everything gets smoothed out anyway. So I really haven't basted a hand quilted quilt when I use cotton for... I don't even remember last time I basted a quilt. So that, and in comparison, I've got some polyester here, which I have done on the machine, but I just want you to see the polyester.
People are coming for me, by the way.
Oh.
Diane McFarland says, for someone who sews, pin basting is tedious and sewing is faster.
Oh.
So she agrees with you. Katie Elizabeth Harding says, I want to go to the Container Store too. And Lorraine Harding says, thank you both tonight for this demo. Bless you.
Okay, well, I haven't got to the actual quilting. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay, well, I'll show you. So this is the polyester wadding. And you can see how it wafts and there's nothing actually sticking to the fabric. It's absolutely nothing there.
This is what the discount Santa Clauses use for their beard.
Oh, yeah. That you would definitely want to baste or pin if you were using that for hand quilting, because that will shift like nobody's business. But the cotton stays as it is. Okay, right. Enough gassing. Let's get down to brass tacks. Because I got my quilting frame. Again, a lot of people don't quilt with a quilting frame. They prefer to do it without one. I've always used a frame. I find it easier. So it's a try both ways. If you can borrow one from somebody and try it before you buy it, give it a go.
That looks like you can make it out of PVC pipe from B&Q, though.
That too, yeah. Somebody did say that last time. Yeah. So, yeah, it is basically, because it comes... I don't think I can undo it now. It's not stuck. It is literally just...
Oh!
Because it comes in 4 pieces and you put it together.
Yep.
So you could make it a different size. You could make a rectangle. When you're quilting, start in the middle. So on my quilt, I always start in the middle and then quilt out.
It's the opposite of a puzzle.
Yes, opposite of a puzzle. So I'm just going to... So when I put these quilts in the frame, you can see I'm just tucking it in. So I want that back bit to not shift. I don't want my front and back, my backing and my top to really shift against each other. So I'm just going to tuck that in. Press it down. You don't want it super, super tight because you can adjust it a little bit as well. You just want it to stay flat. Oh, and if you've got basting stitches, you can either do it now or before. But what you do is you take those out.
You don't want to show off your really cool thread cutter?
Well, everybody knows Jack, my Jack.
Oh, I love him.
You know it's Jack, right? You know why it's Jack?
I don't.
It's Jack the Ripper.
Oh, I love it. I love that.
I thought you would. Right, so I'm going to do my basting threads because I'm going to be quilting here. I'll show you the back. My back is nice and smooth. Ooh. Always double check that before you start quilting, that you've got have any tucks or puckers or anything. Like that. Now with this frame, if I twist this one way or the other, if I twist it towards Kaylee, you can see it's getting a bit looser. And if I twist it down, it gets a bit tighter.
Here, if you twist it the tight way, and then we'll just do like we'll do a tap test.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's tight.
So, oh wow, yeah, you'll feel some elastic. It bounces back.
Yeah, and then this is loose.
Oh, yeah. There's no bounce back with that one.
See, it's wafting.
And is that regards to kind of like stitching you'd want to do?
It depends on how you like to do it, but I tend to get it sort of not super tight, but I like to keep it taut, kind of. Not so you bounce a quarter off it like military bedspread. Thread about an arm's length.
Oh god. Sorry, guys. Sorry, you saw the top of my head. I meant to scroll down.
Technical issues.
Yeah, sorry about that. Joanne Galwin says, I haven't used a frame as I've been worried about stretching.
Oh. I definitely found it stretched more when I used a wooden hoop than in this. I find these a lot more easier to control. So you can see my backing isn't really stretched out compared to my top. They're quite even with each other, basically.
Carol Holt says, just ordered a frame from you. No excuses for not finishing my quilts.
No.
Carol, there are plenty of excuses to not finish your quilts.
No.
There are plenty of excuses.
Right, quick thing. So I've just cut my thread and I've just threaded it from the cut end. So this is the end that I cut off here. And I'm going to pull it all the way through because you always want your needle, your thread, to run like that. So if that's still on the spool, that will help prevent it raveling up, basically. I'm just going to put a regular knot in the end. I wrap it around my finger and then I twirl it and then pull it down to the bottom, so I've got a nice thick knot at the end.
Oh yeah, see, I do that. I had a what would you call it in England? The sewing classes.
Oh yeah, sewing classes.
I had a teacher in my
textiles.
textiles class who told us off for putting knots at the end of our thread and said you should only backstitch when you're hand sewing to, like, stop the thread from coming out. And that just didn't seem, you know...
See, that's why I always say there's no right or wrong way, only the way that works for you. I don't like absolutes, like you absolutely must do something, because it doesn't work for everybody.
Diamond's happy that she's got to see Jack.
Oh, second thing about hand quilting, definitely going to need a thimble. Now, it doesn't have to be one like this, a thimble that you are comfortable with. I like to have a ridge in the top of my thimble, so when I sew, my needle goes up against that ridge at the top. I don't like them when they're domed because it just slips off. But yeah, this is my absolute favourite.
Dawn Bowden, guys, before using your frame, put a towel on it to stretch it a bit to comes apart easier.
Thanks, Dawn. Yes, so when you get it brand new, these bits that go on top of the tube will be quite tight. Dawn found that, and I've had this for so long I've forgotten. So what she did was, she put it on top of a towel overnight just to stretch them out just a little bit, to give it a little bit of give, so that it's not super tight when it goes onto your quilt the first time. Right. So I'm going to start quilting. Let me see. I'll probably start quilting here and go across, and maybe start going that way.
Finally, we're getting down to the quilting in this quilting video.
I know. So I'm just going to put my needle straight up through to come up where I want it, basically. Straight up, just like that. And I'm going to show you the back. So that's the back. And what you want to do is you want to pull it. This is where having quite a thick knot helps. Pull it through the back fabric, but not through the front, because you want to bury that knot. There we go.
Oh.
Into the wadding. So you won't see your knots on the back, but it's caught in the wadding, so it won't come up the top. And then, I've got my...
one quick thing.
Yeah.
Deborah Taylor, you can get these frames from the Swift Quilting shop, because my mom sells them. It's a small plug, but they are very good frames. And Carol Holt says, I agree, but with a 4-year-old granddaughter asking when her quilt would be finished, a 2-year-old grandson who is still waiting for his, and 2 more due in autumn, I need to get on with them. Yeah.
Well, okay, one quick story. So Travis, my friend Travis, his mum, he's got a brother who's 2 years older than him, and his mum started making quilts for their graduation, their high school graduation when they were 18. I ended up helping him finish both of them because they were identical when me and Travis were in graduate school. So eventually they get done. They may not necessarily get done for the time that they're supposed to get done, but eventually they get done.
And thank you, Joanne, for the link to the frame. Thank you very much for that.
Right, I'm going to go over a little bit because I definitely want to show you guys this. So we're going to go a little bit over 9. So we've got started and our knot is hidden inside. And then I quilt with a 2-handed process, basically. So underneath, I'm feeling with either my middle finger or my forefinger for my needle tip to come through. So I'm going to go straight down like that. I can feel the tip of my needle with my finger underneath. And then with my thimble, it's just a rocking motion. So I rock up to bring my needle up. You can do it as big as you want. I tend to only have it so it's about 1 millimeter through, and then down until I feel it pinching my finger, up, down, up. Now I find with my sharps I can only do about 3 stitches and I have to pull it up. Pull it through, not too tight, just like that.
And I have to say, I have a little bit of experience in this, because hand stitching is about as far with sewing as I've ever gotten. But that learning how to use that thimble is key to the whole process, because as soon as you start feeling that needle against your finger, you're going to get fed up pretty quickly.
And you will get callus. So when I hand quilt a quilt, I do get calluses on my middle finger and my forefinger, usually. It does take a while. So you may not want to do too much at one time to begin with. You may want to do a little bit each day. Got them a little bit crooked there, but you want to try and line them up as best you can.
Diane McFarland says, Kaylee, your dad has learned so much when he has been helping your mom with these streams. I hope you are loving them as much as he did, and we do. I do love them. I was the OG recorder.
Yes.
And I always love seeing my mom on the streams. I can't say I learn a whole much, though. It goes in one ear and it goes out the other. I learn bits and pieces, though. And I'm always enthusiastic about the process.
Yes, Kaylee is very much a supporter. Kaylee's never been much of a sewer. Actually, your friend Sam.
Yeah, Sam was more into quilting than I was. He
Yes.
quilted his own teddy bear.
Yeah,
But,
he used to love sewing.
Yeah. Karen Hughes says, not quilting, but if we are confessing, I started a crochet blanket before my nephew was born. He's 21 now, and it's still not finished.
It's okay. There's still time.
Jackie Hurst says, I'm definitely doing this on a plain fabric with variegated fab thread.
Oh, yes.
Another good show tonight. Oh my god. Variegated thread is my favorite.
Yes, so definitely this one is really good. I really like that variegated.
I want to get the side thing so I can see all the individual.
Yeah, well, Jackie
look
will
at that.
know. Jackie's the one who has the purple one on her. Yeah.
Katie,
well.
sorry, Katie Elizabeth Harding says, Emma, do you sell thimbles?
Yes, I do. I sell these ones.
Ooh.
Only because those are the ones I like, so I don't have a big selection of different ones. But yeah, these ones. And these ones, when I used to have to buy them in America before I moved back, they used to sell the perfect thimble at the little hardware store locally. Do you remember that, Kaylee?
No,
Oh, you
not
don't
even
know?
a little bit.
Okay. Well, Michael does, because the cat used to love to play with them and knock them under things, so I was always losing them. So Michael knew exactly how much a thimble cost, because he used to have to go down and buy them for me regularly. Oh, that's another $1.89 gone down the drain.
Joanne Galwin, the OG, says, I remember you being there for the
Yeah.
temperature quilt filming.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, how are your temperature quilts doing?
My what? I really need to catch up. I'll be honest. I really do need to catch up.
See, Carol, it's not just you.
Right, I'm going to go to the end of this and I want to show you how you finish them, because that was a question I had last week and it's simple. So, I'm going to finish right there.
Yeah, see, there's the, you can see where it's been threaded along there.
There. I'm just going to put my needle straight down again.
Yep.
And then I'm going to come to this side. And then what I tend to do, you can either do this either along the stitching that you've just done, or I tend to go across the grain, so do it along the bias. And I'm going to take a series of 5 or 6 stitches. So I'm going to take tiny stitches, only about maybe a width of fabric thread, so 1 thread thick, basically 1 thread across. So that little stitch right there, I've maybe caught a thread from the fabric, and I'm running my needle in between the top and the bottom, so it's going through the middle, so you can't see my needle on this side at all.
Yeah, because you can see just the tiniest, no, it's not there. You don't see anything.
No. So you just want to run it through the middle of your quilt, give it a good little tug, take another tiny stitch.
And this is that back stitching thing that my textiles teacher was trying to tell us.
Yeah. Tug,
that
tug,
just
tug.
would not work for me. Because the thread would just keep slipping out.
Yeah. So in theory, 3 should do you, but I always do about 5 or 6, because I always make sure that it's going to be well and truly secure. You can see them pulling a little bit. Now again, if you want to hide that, I would be doing these stitches along this line of stitching, or alongside it, so that those little pulls, if you can see them, are hidden, but I don't bother about that.
Thank you for the demo, Emma, and the close-ups, Kaylee. You're very welcome, Mary Newman.
So
I'm glad you like that.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that's 5. And I do a little bit longer. So I've got a nice long piece of thread right there.
And that's just through the middle, isn't it?
Through the middle. So we won't see those stitches on the other side at all.
Susan McCurry says, just ordered my frame and thimbles from you. Wonder if I will get around to using them. I hope you do, Susan. We have plenty of time on our hands at the minute. Yeah. Diamond McFarlane, I bought some Metler variegated thread. Do you rate it, Emma? My temperature quilt is 14 days behind. It
depends on so it'll be how thick the thread is. So I would go for at least a 40 weight. And then definitely you're going to want to use the wax on that if it's not specifically hand quilting thread.
And really quick, Annette Jasper, what is a temperature quilt?
Oh.
It's, I'm going to do this really quick.
Okay. Go for it.
So temperature quilt is every single day you take the temperature and you correspond that to a fabric.
My bits.
Okay, no problem. You correspond that to a fabric and then you make the quilt according to the temperature of that day. So it's a good way of recording temperatures of a year, or maybe a year in history, maybe if you have enough temperature data. Yeah. But this is the start. This was taken. That was February, wasn't it?
That encounters February. I think March maybe as well.
And you'll see it's quite blues and greens because those are the cold colors because it was quite chilly.
Yeah. Oh, this was up to March. So.
And this was up to March. You can see it kind of getting warmer now. And then
that's February.
February.
Yeah. I see. That's how far I've gotten.
So. Wow, you've gone to March. You have had exactly as much progress as I think I left you with. So
yeah. So I need to really catch up.
So
on this
is that. Lots of thank yous from everyone. I think they're getting a little bit fed up with us.
Yeah.
Carol Holt, my temperature quilt is done up to end of June. Good for you, Carol. I think I might be adding a few more colors if we get another heat wave. Yes. Already hit 30 in Bristol.
Oh, wow.
Lori Voss Goldsmith, thank you too for a great demo and a great chat. Thank you, Lori. Lauren Harding, thank you so much. Judith Belden, thanks, Emma. Carol Holt, thank you. Joanne Gallowan, sorry, what have I started about temperatures? Oh, that was our very, very first... sorry, we just started talking about it because Annette had a wonderful question about it, and I was also curious about how much my mom has done. And it was not as much as I thought.
No.
But Carol, the absolute trooper, got all the way to the end of June. All right, are you going to do closing?
That's it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you have any questions, just message me. But that is pretty much the quilting. Basically hand quilting. It's more preparation than actual doing it. It's just practice. You've got to practice that rocking motion and definitely getting to grips with a thimble. But yeah, have fun. Love to see pictures.
Katie says, don't go, best ever. We'll see you next Friday, Katie. Thank you, Sandy.
Well,
I won't see you.
Yeah, Mikey will be back next Friday.
Belinda says, not fed up at all. Mine is months behind. Brenda says, thank you. Diamond McFarlane says, never fed up. She loves you. Susan McGurry, thank you. I could watch you all night.
Aw, bless you.
Joanne Gallowan says, you guys are so fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Susan Malcolm Davis, everything is interesting. Thank you, ladies. Debbie Calver says, thank you once again. Dawn Bowden, have a great weekend. You have a great weekend, Dawn. And Deborah Taylor says, great show. And Diane Renneberg says, have you tried Oliver's twist for variegated quilting thread? Thanks, ladies. Off for my grape juice.
Yes. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.